The police made a car stop in order to check for registration that had expired. The police officer introduced himself to the driver, asked for his driver's license, and requested that he open the window on the vehicle's passenger side. The other officer on the other side of the vehicle approached the girl and introduced himself before requesting the girl sitting in the passenger seat to produce her driver's license. However, she claimed that she did not possess a valid driver's license. The car driver was also informed by the officer as to the reason why they were pulled over.
What's up, man? I'm Officer Holliger, Police Department. You got your driver's license on you? Would you mind rolling that window down for my partner right there? I'm sorry.
How are you?
Good.
I'm Officer Manolis with the Griffin Police Department. You got your license on you, ma'am?
I don't.
You have any ID on you, anything like that? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Smallwood, man. The reason I'm stopping you today, okay? When I run your tag, it comes back with cancel registration and no valid insurance on it. Yes. Hold on, just check one more time. You got a valid license? You still live in Elmwood Drive, New Hampshire? Okay, cool. Let me get you to do me a favor, man, so I'm not standing in the road.
Soon after, the officer urged the driver to get out of the car since the officer was standing on the road, which was dangerous. When the officer inquired about the car's insurance, the man said that he had borrowed the vehicle from a friend and had no knowledge of its insurance. However, he had the bright notion of putting some documents for the car in the glove box in an envelope.
05244-4605. You just step right there for me. Do you know if there's insurance on the car?
I thought it was.
You thought there was? Is this your car?
I mean, nah, I was borrowing it from a friend.
You just borrowed it from a friend? They live in Coffee County?
I mean, I was borrowing it from a buddy. His name Brandon.
Okay, cool. So you don't know if there's an insurance card or anything in there?
I think I got some paperwork on it. He said it was paperwork in the glove box.
Okay. Would you mind if I get my partner to look in or get her to open the glove box?
That's fine.
Okay.
Tell her so. He said it was in an envelope. Kind of, I don't know, it's an envelope.
Okay.
Bent up with a bunch of paper stuff inside.
Okay, just hang tight 1 second. Hey, Manola, he said there might be some insurance paperwork in the dash. Can you get her to look?
A female police officer noticed the necklace of the driver of the car was wearing around his neck. She inquired about it in a lighthearted manner, but it turned out that the items were fake. It's likely as a result of this that the man started to feel more at ease. As a result of this, another police officer approached them and inquired about their destination. The man gave them all of the information, including the fact that the woman seated next to her was his girlfriend. He informed them that they had been together for 2 years. The police officer then asked to do a cursory search of the vehicle to ensure that it did not contain any unlawful items such as narcotics or weapons.
Huh? It's fake, man. It ain't real.
It ain't real?
Nah.
Where y'all heading to today, man?
Oh, he's going up here to Goodwill, man.
Oh, Goodwill? Okay, going to get some clothes?
She like the shop, man. She like
I
to
got
go
you.
around and stuff.
Is that your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, how long y'all been together?
Almost 2 years now.
Almost 2 years? You ain't put no rock on it yet?
Oh,
No? Okay, cool.
no. Had too much trouble with the last few.
I feel you. Just real quick, man, since my partner's standing right there, you got any kind of weapons or anything we didn't know about with her still being in the car?
I got a knife.
No guns, no big swords, no bazookas, no explosives, nothing like that?
No.
Okay. Any kind of narcotics in the vehicle? No heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines, pills?
Cigarettes.
Just cigarette, no marijuana, nothing like that? Would you have an issue with us searching the vehicle? Or would you give consent to search the vehicle?
However, it appeared as though the man had little interest in the search of his vehicle. After that, he made an attempt to get out of the situation by explaining why he was stopped by them, what he had done wrong, and why he was now being requested to undergo the search. The officer then took control of the situation and explained that the police would conduct a search only if he were given permission to do so by the suspect. The individual, though, denied having done anything. After that, the officers came to the conclusion that it would be best to bring in the dog unit to search the vehicle from the outside. After that, the female was given the command to exit the vehicle. She politely requested the officer's assistance in obtaining a cigarette. The officer gave her permission. Then, though, the girl started looking for the lighter. It seems likely that she was trying to put off getting out of the car.
I don't really see why y'all have a right. I mean,
No, that's why I'm asking.
I mean, y'all have a reason
It's your right to say yes or no to it.
I mean, I don't think you should. But
So no, you don't want us to have consent. Okay, do me a favor. I'm gonna stand right there beside him.
I have one time.
We're finna run the dog.
You can step out with me for a minute. No worries.
I'm allowed to get a cigarette. Or
Huh?
is that not allowed?
A cigarette? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to.
I'm gonna start writing this real quick.
Oh, should I turn the car off?
That's fine.
I'm sorry. Gas.
You got a lighter anywhere?
Oh, I thought I did.
Well, that's fine. I'll tell you what. Just hold on.
When the officer told her to come out again, she did. The officer questioned if she had any weapons and asked her to lift her jacket for confirmation. The dog squad arrived, and an officer accompanied by a dog began searching the vehicle.
Step out with me.
Oh, you have to open my door for me.
That's fine.
Thank you.
No worries. You got any weapons on you, anything like that?
No.
You do me a favor and just lift up real quick. No.
Yeah.
Just your jacket.
Oh.
Turn around. Okay, you can come this way. Coffee County. Who lives in Coffee?
I have no idea, man. Like I said, I bought it from a friend.
Oh, really?
You can find that paper with the insurance, the tag, and all this
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. I was like, I didn't know if it would be on that paperwork or not.
There was a second police car that arrived, and at this point, a different dog squad arrived for the specific search of narcotics, and the search was resumed once more. Because
Whose car then? You borrowing it for like the week or the day or?
We was hanging out Sunday night. Night before last. He was drunk. He left some girl. Come back for it. Copy the woman supposed to get it.
Girls will do it to you every time.
Because the dog located something that was against the law inside the vehicle, the officer made the decision to detain the couple. They were both restrained with handcuffs. After
We got 155 shut down.
Yeah. 26. 1026. Just detain, just detain.
After receiving confirmation from the side of the dog unit, the law enforcement officials got into the vehicle to conduct a manual check of the interior from the inside. They found a bag full of sketch pens, makeup items, and art books. Officers also searched the couple. When the
Just to let you know, they took a minute to pull over. Yeah.
Is there anything we need to know about? You sure?
I mean, I say I got some knives in there. That's about it.
That dog's trained on narcotics, not knives. You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. You want to do him or
Whatever it is.
you want me to do it?
no matter.
Like I say, I only had the car about a day now.
Two of them.
Oh, Nelly.
Yeah.
When the officers retrieved some packets from the automobile, the man denied it and said it did not belong to him when the police officer asked about it. The officers got the packets from the car. However, the officer had collected those packages from the suspect's vehicle, which is why he made the man sit in the police vehicle.
There you go.
Center console. What was that?
I have no idea, man.
You don't know?
I ain't never seen it.
It was in the center console.
I just got the car about a day and a half ago.
So it's not yours?
It's mine.
I'm gonna bring you back here and let you have a seat. Have a seat for me.
The female police officer conducted a private search of the young woman, but she did not find anything suspicious. After that, the cops complimented them for remaining peaceful and not putting up any resistance throughout the entire procedure.
You don't have nothing in that area. Do you have something up in there?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't want to say no.
Yeah.
Thank you for not fighting and resisting us.
After some time, however, a package was taken from the girl, and the driver then confessed that the narcotics were his and that he had requested his girlfriend to keep them a secret.
Hey, Holly, this was in there too. This was in there too.
Damn.
Yeah.